I'm going to be reading from Simply Cooking Theory and Principles, written by me from the second edition. On page 174, please listen. The safety of food produced, served, and consumed is of utmost importance to everyone, more so those who habitually eat outside their homes and are unaware of the real quality of food served to them, even though it tastes well. Kitchens provide all conditions necessary for growth of microorganisms such as food, humidity, and the right temperature, all of which are conducive to the spread of infection, disease, and infestation if not monitored and controlled by following hygiene and sanitation practices strictly. Training in food safety can be organized under three categories. The three E's: education, engineering, and enforcement. First, education. There are 4 subpoints in education. The first point is teaching safe methods with particular emphasis on areas of potential dangers and how these can be guarded against. Second, demonstrating the use of safety equipment installed in the establishment. Third, inculcating in people the ability to recognize the signs of hazard around them in colleagues and the equipment. For example, an unwell person. For example, unusual sound from an equipment. Fourth point is teaching staff the legal implication for non-adherence to safety procedures. 3 E's. The first one was education, which I've already told you about. The second one is engineering. Engineering involves building in of safety features in the structure of the establishment, in the equipment, furniture, and fittings, and their proper arrangement within the spaces. Equipment should be selected with care to ensure safety in design and that can make it possible to maintain sanitation of parts that come in contact with food. The third E is enforcement. Enforcement means implementation or practice of safety rules need to be enforced by rule, law, or custom and practice. Discipline should be followed at work. All activities in vulnerable areas should be supervised. Switches for electrical, fuel supply, and water taps should be closed when not in use. Immediate attention to repair leaks and regular maintenance of equipment is a must. I would like to read from Simply Cooking Theory and Principles about food preservation. The principles of food preservation, this is on page 183, new edition. The principles of food preservation are: number 1, prevention or delay of microbial decomposition. How do we prevent or delay? 4 ways. Number 1, by keeping out microorganisms, by removal of microorganisms, by hindering the growth and activities of the microorganisms, and number 4, by killing the microorganisms. The second principle of food preservation is prevention or delay. First one was prevention or delay in microbial decomposition. The second one is prevention or delay in self-decomposition of the food. 2 ways: by destruction or inactivation of food enzymes, example by blanching, and second, by delay or prevention of chemical reactions. The third principle of food preservation is by prevention of damage because of insects, animals, and mechanical causes. There are 12 methods of preserving foods. Let us quickly do them. First is asepsis. What is asepsis? Asepsis is keeping out the microorganisms by adopting good hygiene practices and sanitized environment. Second, removal of microorganisms. This can be done by filtration, centrifugation, washing, trimming, and thorough cooking. Third, maintenance of anaerobic conditions. A complete fill, evacuation of unfilled space or replacement of air by carbon dioxide and by inert gas nitrogen. Fourth, using high temperature. High temperature denatures proteins and inactivates enzymes required for the metabolism of microorganisms. Almost all microorganisms die at high temperature. Fifth, using low temperature. Low temperatures are used to retard chemical reactions and action of food enzymes and to slow down or stop the growth and activity of microorganisms in food. The lower the temperature, the slower is the chemical reaction, enzyme action, and microbial growth. A low enough temperature will prevent the growth of any microorganism in food. Commercial storage freezers maintain temperatures below minus 18 degrees centigrade. Common or cellar storage for root crops, potatoes, cabbage, apples is 15 degrees centigrade. Chilling storage for most perishable food, including eggs, dairy, meat, seafood, vegetables, and foods, is from minus 5 to 10 degrees centigrade. Quick freezing may be done to foods to ensure that they have a long life. The sixth method of preservation is preserving by drying. Drying of the food is accomplished by removal of water from food, but any method that reduces the amount of moisture in food is a form of drying. For example, solar drying or with the help of mechanical dryers. The seventh method of food preservation is by preservatives. A food additive. What is a preservative? Preservative is a food additive or combination of additives that may be added to food during production, processing, storage, or packaging to prevent the deterioration or decomposition of food. Some examples are propionic acid, sodium or calcium propionate, ascorbic acid, benzoic acid, sulfur dioxide, nitrites, and nitrates. Sugar is also used. Eighth is radiation. Use of ultraviolet radiation, ionizing radiation, which include X-rays, gamma rays, beta rays, and cathode rays, and microwave heating, which have electromagnetic waves between infrared and radio waves. The ninth method of preserving food is irradiation. Irradiation is another sterilizing technique in which the foods are bombarded by high energy rays called gamma rays, or by fast moving electrons to kill bacteria, fungi, insects, and in some cases delay fruits from ripening. It has been used in pasteurizing or sterilizing perishable food such as meat, fish, fruit, and extending their storage lives for long periods. The 10th method of preserving foods is by canning. Canning is the process in which the foods are heated in hermetically sealed, airtight, in hermetically sealed jars or cans to a temperature that destroys microorganisms and deactivates enzymes that could be a health hazard or cause the food to spoil. Canning is a vacuum sealed process. For example, tinned food such as soup, meat, beans, nuts, milk, fish, etc. And pasteurization, the 11th method, second last method, is a heat treatment that kills a part but not all the microorganisms present. The last but not the least method of food preservation is with the help of UTHS, a favorite exam question, UTHS. What is UTHS? Ultra high temperature sterilization. Ultra high temperature sterilization is heating the food to 135 degrees centigrade for 2 seconds. Ultra high, 135 degrees centigrade for 2 seconds. This method makes food commercially sterile. Such food is packed under aseptic conditions and can be stored at room temperature for 3 to 6 months. That's it.